Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to your Wild Flow practice with me, Sydney. I'll be leading you through today. Today, our theme is broken and beautiful. We have a quote here by Sarah Bareilles who says, "The idea behind a kaleidoscope is that it is a structure that's filled with broken bits and pieces. And somehow, if you look through them, you still see something beautiful. And I feel we are all that way a little bit." So noticing that the broken or the wounded bits of you are the pieces that tell your story, and you wouldn't be who you are today without those pieces in exactly the place that they were put. So holding yourself in a humble space, holding yourself in a space of love and light, let's begin our practice.
If you're following along with our playlist, we will be following Wild Flow 8, and you can push play now. And we'll start off our practice this time in a standing position. We'll take our feet a little bit wider than hip width. We'll lift up through our toes, grounding down through our pinky toes, fanning open to our big toes, making sure that all four corners of our feet are grounded evenly into the ground. We'll pull our energy up our shins, keeping our knees slightly bent. Arms at the sides active and palms pointing forwards. Giving the shoulder blades a little roll, tucking in the floating ribs. We're standing nice and tall, pressing the crown of the head up towards the sky. While keeping our chin slightly tucked, we are active here. And we'll begin our 3-part breath, inhaling through the nose, filling the chest, filling the ribs, and expanding the belly outward, pulling air to the deepest bottom of our lungs. And then we'll exhale from our belly, from our ribs, and from our chest. Inhaling chest, ribs, belly, exhaling belly, ribs, chest. We inhale chest, ribs, belly, and we exhale belly, ribs, chest. We inhale chest, ribs, belly, and we exhale belly, ribs, and chest. Inhale belly, exhale belly. Inhale ribs, exhale ribs, inhale chest, exhale chest, inhale chest, ribs, belly, and exhale belly, ribs, and chest. Staying active and tall, feeling the sensation of the ground beneath your feet. And we'll blink our eyes open gently, starting to draw a figure eight with our hips, bending into opposite knees, swinging them side to side. So rotating our knees around our ankles, or side, side. We're stretching out our calves, moving our hips in this figure eight position, forward and back. We'll get our arms involved, rolling our shoulders back. Lift your head, keep your head up, princess. Making this sway bigger and bigger and bigger, folding forward, and then bringing your torso back up. backwards, circling through the shoulders. There's no wrong way to connect with your body in this way. It's free movement. We're flowing side to side. We're breathing. And we'll slowly bring our feet in closer together as we bring our hands way overhead, interlace our fingers, big stretch towards the ceiling, feet glued into the ground. We'll inhale, fill our chest, and exhale up and over the right hip. So nice side stretch, left hip slides to the side slightly, little pulses here. Keep breathing. And then we'll inhale, come back up to center. Exhale, shoulders down away from the ears. Inhale, lift through the chest. Exhale, up and over to the left side this time. Tiny pulses. Hips shift gently to the right. And then we'll inhale, come back up to center. Exhale, hands to heart center, hinging at the hips. We bend our knees and we fold forward. We tuck our chin here and we trace a figure 8 on the floor with our fingertips gently side to side. And we'll inhale, hands come up the shins, chest lifts for flat back. And we'll exhale, fold forward. And we'll start a wave movement with our spine. One vertebrae at a time comes up. And then one vertebrae at a time folds down. So we tuck our tailbone, roll one vertebrae at a time up. And then starting from our hips, we roll from our belly, our ribs, our chest, and our chin. We roll up. And we roll down. And again, we roll up. We roll down. This time we're staying here down. We're going to place our hands on either side of our feet, stepping one foot at a time back and bringing it back to center. So stepping back and in, sitting down nice and low here. Step back and in, sitting even lower into your hips. So you're stepping back into a lunge and then bringing your feet back into center. So step it back, bring it forward, step it back, forward, step it back, bring it forward, back, and forward. We're going to step back and back, staying in our plank, one knee at a time into center, keeping the feet lifted, marching out to a mountain climbing movement. And then we'll press our hips up and back, and we'll start circling through those hips. Nice big circles here. And changing direction here. And we'll keep those circles going as we transfer our weight forward back to plank. You can lower your knees here. We're tapping opposite shoulders with our hands. Then we're going to plant both hands down at the mat, bending our elbows close to the body. We lower 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We fill ourselves with breath. We exhale fully, and we inhale, press up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hips go back, downward dog. And we're going to bend one heel at a time into our booty, and we're going to run it out. So running it out, kicking yourself in the butt, keeping your shoulders away from your ears, your neck is soft. We're going to run it out and run forward to the top of our mat. We inhale, little pulses here. Stay with your breath, hands reaching for the ground, pulsing through the heart space. Rounding into the spine. And then we'll inhale, lift up all the way to the sky, straighten through the legs. Hips come forward, back goes back. Exhale fully. We'll inhale back up to center. And exhale, hands down through heart center, sitting down, hip tick side to side. So keeping your knees glued together, hips are lifting, shortening through the obliques. Keeping it going side to side. And then circles here. So hip circles, really tucking into the low belly as you bring your hips forward. And we'll change direction. And we'll exhale, fold here. Deep breaths, filling up your back, expanding fully. And then exhaling, folding forward here. We're going to sit down nice and low, picking up our right hand and our left knee up to center and lowering down. Left hand, right knee, and down. So we're marching it out here, sitting nice and low, keeping those toes able to wiggle. And we're going to pick up the pace a little bit, lifting and lowering, bringing your hands to your heart, tapping it out. We're up at the top of our mat. We're going to inhale, both arms come wide, big stretch up to the sky. We're going to exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold. We're going to inhale, hands come up the shins, chest lifts for flat back. We're going to fold back down. We'll plant our hands, step one at a time to plank. Filling ourselves with breath, we'll press up to downward dog. And we'll ground down through one heel at a time, taking our dog for a walk, bending our knees. And then grounding down through both heels, shake it out. So get those jiggly bits jiggling. Shake, 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 shake. And we're going to tuck the tailbone, or press the heels down towards the floor. Tuck the tailbone under, roll one vertebrae at a time to plank, hip tick side to side. As we lower down onto our forearms, keep the hip ticks going side, side. And then we'll lower the knees, lower the pubic bone, lift through the chest, kick 1 foot at a time in towards your glutes. Big breaths. And then we're going to keep those toes pointed up towards the sky. Tick-tock them side to side, rolling out through the fronts of the legs. And then we'll lower those feet back down, elbows come wide, chest down towards the mat, hands underneath the shoulders. Gentle little push-ups here, so pushing into your hands, lifting and lowering through the chest. Pubic bone stays glued into the mat. Working your arms here, not making your back do too much work. It's more of a stretch. Breathing here. And then we'll lower elbows wide, hands come on either side of the body, left cheek to the mat, big breaths. Feeling your belly breathe into the floor. Letting your elbows relax down into the mat. And we'll take our left arm, reach it out perpendicular to the body, out behind us. Right hand comes under the shoulder, right knee bends, big breath. And as you exhale, roll onto your left shoulder, right leg comes behind the body, right hand comes to the back pocket. Breathing here. And then we'll release that right hand to the front of the body, coming back onto the belly. Left hand comes under the shoulders, flipping the toes. Big breath. Exhale, pushes your way up through push-up. Hips come back, downward facing dog. Take your dog for a walk, deeply crossing the body with opposite knees. So you're twisting in through your hips. Then we're going to plant down through our heels, left hand grounded into the mat, right hand reaches back, taps the left ankle, chin returns. Left hand reaches back, taps the right ankle and returns. Speed it up. Forward and back, tapping out the ankles, twisting to the side, looking under the armpit as you go. And then we'll press back into our downward dog, grounding into our left leg. Our right leg raises high into the air. Pulses here, so lifting and lowering. And we'll bend into that right knee and open our right hip to the side. Big backward circles with our right knee. And we'll open that right knee as high as we go. Point our toes. Press that right leg back over to the left side. Big presses here. 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll take that right leg, bring it underneath of the body, stepping the right leg out to the left side, coming onto the outside of the right foot. Left foot opens up to the heel. Right arm plants into the ground. Left arm lifts and lowers under the armpit. Lifts and lowers. Lifts and lowers. Lifts up. This time it stays up. Tiny pulses through the hips. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Left hand back to the ground. Right foot comes to meet the left. Pressing back into the heels. Ground it down. Shake it out. You can even step, lift and lower one foot at a time. Keeping those shakes going. Keeping your legs nice and long. We'll look up between our hands. Transfer our weight forward. Keep those shakes happening as we bend down through our elbows, lower through chaturanga, knees, chin, chest to the ground. We inhale, hands hover, little pulses here, lifting and lowering through the low back, pressing the belly into the mat. And we'll lower the right cheek down onto the floor, right hand out, perpendicular to the body, left hand in under the shoulder, bending into the left knee, big breath. Exhale fully. And then we'll inhale, roll onto the right shoulder, left foot comes behind the body, left hand back to the back pocket, big breaths here. And we'll take that left hand, place it back underneath of the left shoulder, rolling onto the belly. Right hand comes underneath, flipping the toes, fill ourselves with breath. Exhale fully. And then inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pushes us back up and bending into downward facing dog here. We'll inhale, that left leg comes up into the air this time. And little pulses here, lifting and lowering with the left leg into that glute. Keeping the chest pulled back towards the knee. Bending into that left knee, we lift and open to the right side. Nice back circles happening with that left knee. And then pointing the left toe, pulsing it over to the right, pressing it back. Back. Nice and strong, big breaths. And we'll transfer our hips back to neutral. Bring that left knee underneath the body. Step it through to the right side. Open up that right foot. Heel comes to the floor. Left hand planted on the mat. Big lifting up with the right hand. Big breath. Exhale underneath the elbow. Inhale, lift. Exhale, twist. Inhale, lift. Exhale, twist. Inhale, lift. Pulses here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right hand comes back to the ground. Left foot comes back to meet the right. We're in our plank here. Down onto our forearms. We rainbow our hips side to side. Breathe it out. 3, 2, 1. Bringing that to stillness. One knee at a time. Steps up to opposite or backs of the forearms. Triceps. Stepping the knees up. You can do it. Keep breathing. Almost there. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees go wide, toes together, back into child's pose, tenting the fingers, sway side to side. Lifting and lowering, side to side. And then big circles here with the torso, fingertips tented, elbows bent, changing direction here. Big circles all the way around. You can do it, keep going. And then we'll roll up one vertebrae at a time, sitting our hips down onto our heels. Hands come to our belly, and we circle out above our hips. So our whole torso is circling here, and we'll change direction. And we'll plant our hands to our hips, hands are on our knees, pulsing through our chest, lifting and lowering, squeezing those shoulder blades together, pulsing, lifting forward, lifting up. Keep it going. And then we're going to pulse to the back, so hollowing out through the chest. Shoulders come forward, shoulder blades pull apart, hollowing out in the belly, pulsing forward. And we'll keep our knees where they are, lifting up onto our hands, pressing our toes down, flipping them under, coming into our toe stand. I'll turn this way. So we're sitting on our heels here. Our toes are flipped. They're pressed into the ground. We can feel our feet stretch. We love this pose. Our right hand reaches down for the floor as our left hand reaches up and over. Big stretch. And we'll pulse our elbow back. So lifting our elbow back towards our body. And then we'll lift our right arm up and then exhale, cross it over to the outside of the right wrist. Left arm up, right wrist, up and close, up and close. One last time, up and close. Coming back up to center, putting hands on the belly, taking a big breath, and then exhaling fully. Left hand comes down to reach the mat. Right arm comes up and overhead, big stretch. Breathing here. Reaching to the left side, elbow pulses in, ready, go. Yes. Pull it like you're pulling something heavy, ripping a lawnmower cord or something. 3, 2, 1. Right arm reaches up and crosses the body to the outside of the left wrist, up and open, and cross. Open, cross, open, cross, open, cross. We'll come back to center, point our toes, lay them on the ground, bring our knees into center, pulsing, lifting our knees up. Lifting them up and open, hands can be in the middle, up and open. And then we'll lay our knees down, point our toes, sitting back onto our heels. We reach back behind us. We inhale, little pulses lifting through our hips. Throat is nice and protected, keeping that chin tucked, squeezing through the glutes to lift up high, pulsing forward. You've got this. And then we'll come forward, reach forward and down, child's pose. We'll inhale, arms cycle back, big stretch, lifting through the hips. Exhale, down. Inhale, lift, and lift. Exhale, down, and fold. We'll inhale, cycle back, lift our hips. Exhale, down, arms come forward and fold. Inhale, back. And exhale forward. One last time, we inhale back and we exhale forward. We plant our hands at the top of our mat. We step our feet back one at a time, coming to downward facing dog. Big breaths here. We're going to start gently grounding down into our heels as we pat ourselves on the back with opposite hands. So shaking out our heels as we pat ourselves on the back. And we're going to plant our hands, get those bouncy bits bouncing as we bounce our feet up towards our hands. And we'll inhale, hands come up the shins, chest lifts, flat back. Exhale, down. We'll take our left leg, plant it where it is, step our right foot back, cartwheel open, warrior 2. Right foot facing to the right side, left foot forward. Deep lunge here, and we pulse into that left knee. Pulse it out. We're gonna go into our deep, deep lunge and reach our hands forward and back, hinging from the hips here. And we start our big circles here. Forward and back, wave it out, big circles, change direction, forward and back, 2, 3, and back. We'll bring our hands to our hips as we straighten through our left leg, turn our left toes to the right side, hinging at the hips, forward fold, hands reaching for our toes, big wide-legged forward fold, Padahastasana. We're gonna bend right knee straight, left knee straight, right knee straight, left knee straight, right, up, left, up. We're gonna go 2 on the right, and up, 2 on the left, and up, 2 on the right, and up, 2 on the left. And we're gonna come up halfway, we're gonna shake out our hips. We can bring our hands out to the side and we'll tap them into center as we keep our hips shaking. So grounding in to your pinky toe side, shake out those hips, maybe even shake out your face, you're too serious. And we're gonna hit the floor and throw it up. Throw it up. Throw it up, sorry Yogi. 3, 2, 1. Big breath brings us all the way up. Exhale, hands come down to heart center. We're bending into our knees, heels turned inwards, shimmying side to side into our goddess pose. We're going to reach down for the mat, pressing our arms into the ground. We're holding a little bit of our weight here as we do tiny little pulses into our hips. And we're going to point those toes straight, straighten our legs, lift our chest, shake it out, side to side. This time get your face involved. Double dog, dare you to shake out your face. You can do it, it doesn't matter. And we're going to keep our hips shaking, 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 reaching our arms back, lifting our chest up. Stop that shaking, one hand at a time, reaches forward as we lift our chest. So looking up, reaching for something you want and pulling it back to you. Pull and back, gentle bend into the knees, reach, pull, reach, reach. Nice, fold forward, hands go wide. Chin, this is not my tailbone, it's my chin. Tucked into the chest, Padahastasana, or wide-legged hands to foot pose. We're going to turn back to the left to the top of our mat, step our right foot up. We're going to lift our heels up and down, coming into our toe stand, so forward-legged, forward folded leg, heel lifts, relevating into our heels here, and slowly beginning to bend our heels down, staying at the top of your mat, lifting and lowering our heels as we bend our hips down, keeping our heels lifted. We're coming into our toe stand here, walking our hands up onto our knees, big breath, hands at heart center, we open and close one knee at a time, open, open, nice. You can even get your hands involved, making it a little more dancey, and we'll press nice and slow, coming up to stand, lowering our heels down, arms come up, big breath. We're going to ground down through our heels here, get our body shaking, grounding into the ground, look up, arms up, grounding through the heels, balancing it out. And we're going to bring our hands down nice and slow like they're moving through water till they're parallel to the floor. We'll step our feet more than hip distance, taking a big breath, filling ourselves up. And then as we exhale, we're going to twist from the hips to the left. Keeping our hands parallel, we'll inhale, come back to center. Exhale, twisting from the hips to the right. Inhale, come back up. Exhale to the left. And one more time, inhaling and exhaling to the right. We'll bring both hands back up, reach for the ceiling. Exhale, hinging at the hips, forward fold. We'll inhale, hands come up the shins, chest lifts for flat back. And we'll exhale, fold down, planting the hands, stepping our left foot back. This time I'm going to change sides. You stay at the top of your mat. Left foot comes back, bending deep into that right knee. Little pulses here. And then we're going to open the left hip to the side, pointing the left toes to the left side, right foot pointed forward, left arm cartwheels here, coming into our warrior two. Gentle little pulses here, little pulses, bending into that right knee. You're breathing, you're living, you're doing a great job, you're doing it right. Keep it up. We're going to lift and lower through our toes here. Give them a little tap, right toes lift and lower, left toes tap. And bending here will hinge from the hips, reaching forward and back. And then start those cycles going. Cyclone with the arms as you still pulse forward and back, and then changing direction with your arms. And changing direction again. And again. And again. And we come back to center, deep down into our warrior two. Our left hand comes down, our right arm goes all the way up and back for exalted warrior. And we cartwheel our hands, right hand comes down to the mat, left hand comes up towards the ceiling. And we're going to tap it up through the right hand. So reaching the right hand for the ground and into the heart, tapping into yourself, listening to your body and what your body needs to do. We're going to plant our right hand down, release our right leg, step it back on the inside, coming into side plank. You can leave your knee down here, otherwise coming into side plank. Left hand comes to left hip, pulsing through the left leg. So if your knee's on the ground, it looks like this. If you're in full side plank, it looks like this. If this is too much for your wrist, full modification, you can be down on your forearm. Listen to your body. This is your wild flow. Otherwise, just move. And we'll all lower our knees down as we take our left leg parallel to the floor. Bring it forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, forward and back. This time, keep it back, bending into that right knee, or left knee, sorry. Left hand comes back, reaches for the foot, opening through the left side of the body. Big stretch through the front. Pressing hand into foot and foot into hand, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Gaze falls open and back. And we'll release that left leg to the side, lower it down to the ground. We'll cartwheel our hands up and over, left hand, left leg. Right arm reaches overhead like it's going to touch that left toe. Big breath here. And then we'll inhale, come back to center, reaching our hands for the ground. Our left knee comes in to meet our right. And we fold down into a child's pose. So hips to heels, nose to knees, hands to feet. Have a big breath here, lifting and lowering through your back body. And then we'll roll up one vertebrae at a time. Stepping forward with our left leg, our hands plant on either side, stepping back with our right. Our left hand comes to the inside of our left foot, our right leg opens to the side, our right arm reaches up to the sky, and we lift and lower through our left hand, tapping into our chest. Three, 2, 1. Planting that left hand down, we'll release that left foot either to our knee, to our forearm, or reaching it all the way to the back for our side plank on the left. Hand comes to hip. This side's harder. Lifting and lowering through the right leg. You're so strong. You've got this. Keep it going. Keep breathing. Whatever modification you're doing, own it. Own it, own it, own it. Lift and lower, lift and lower. And then all together, we'll lower that left knee. Left leg comes behind the body. Cartwheel the right hand up to the right leg. Left arm comes up overhead. Big breath. Big stretch. And then we'll inhale, cartwheel that left hand to the ground, nice and slow. Right hand, right hip, lifting that leg parallel to the ground. Reach it forward and back. So the leg is moving parallel to the ground, as parallel as your leg will let it lift. Don't judge yourself. It's okay. Remember, you're doing it right. Forward and back. And we'll bend that right knee, grab the foot with the hand, pressing hand into foot, hip opens, shoulder comes back, knee comes back. Big breaths here. And then we'll release that right leg back down, right hand comes to meet the mat, right knee comes into center, flipping our toes, hips come up and back, downward facing dog. And we'll walk our hands back to our feet. We'll inhale, hands come up the shins, chest lifts for flat back. And we'll exhale, fold forward. Thumbs tucking in to opposite elbows, nice figure eight with the elbows here. And then we'll release our hands back down to the mat, lifting one foot at a time and shoving your hands underneath of your feet. Standing on your feet, coming into gorilla. Big breaths here. Stretching out through the back of the body. And then we'll release our hands and slowly begin to walk them back to the top of our mat, coming into our plank. Big breath here. We'll exhale for 5 as we bend our elbows close to our body, lowering down to the mat. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Once we get there, we'll stay there, lifting one leg at a time, getting those fleshy bits out of the way. Our hands reach out and above us or ahead of us. And we'll do tiny little pulses, lifting, pressing into the belly, lifting our hands up off of the floor. Gaze is just at the top of our mat. Toes are glued into the floor. And we'll take our arms wide, same thing, little pulses here, lifting our arms. And then bring our hands back, same thing, lift and lower. 3, 2, 1. Hands come underneath the shoulders, pressing up through tabletop to child's pose here. Breathing here, body resting on the thighs, forehead on the mat, deep breaths. And then we'll roll it out one vertebrae at a time, lower our hips to the mat, keeping our hands where they are, coming into up dog or seal. So making sure we're not creasing too much into our low back here. You want to keep your belly long and lifted. Keep your shoulder blades back, elbows slightly bent if you need. Big breaths here. And we'll lower down nice and slow onto our belly. Hands reach back toward our feet, palms to the floor. Chin on the ground, big breath here. We glue our legs together and we inhale, we lift them off of the mat, big breaths. Tiny little pulses here. Getting into that low back, it's part of your core, we want it strong. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lowering it down, hands come underneath the shoulders. Fill yourself with breath, forehead to the mat, roll it side to side. A nice massage for your brow. And then we'll press up into tabletop, stepping our knees underneath our hips, hands underneath of our shoulders. Big breaths here. And then we'll sit back onto our heels, taking our left leg, extending it forward, turning over to the right, or coming up onto the hip. So we're coming into a half, I guess it's a half frog. So we're sitting on the inside of our heel here. If this is too much for your knee, then you can just cross your foot into your thigh. Otherwise, keeping your foot back here, one foot forward, knees as together as you can. We inhale, both hands overhead, and we exhale, reach forward with our chest until we feel that stretch in our leg, and then we arch the spine, reaching for the leg. Big breaths here. Yeah, this is not frog. The name has left me, but whatever it is, it feels good, so let's do it. Big breaths. And then we'll slowly walk our hands back toward our body, hands on either side, tick-tocking those toes side to side, internal and external rotation from our hip here. And then we'll come into a box, so bending the left knee out to the left side. We're in a box pose here, so our shins make a box, Our hands are behind our back and we're going to cycle them side to side. You can also bring your hands off of the ground here and do it with no hands for increased difficulty. Bonus points if you pause up in a squat. That's not for me today, and that's okay. Remember, this is your practice, just as it is mine, side to side. I'm just facilitating. You can choose your own adventure. And then we'll go over to the right side. The right foot stays tucked. The left leg comes long. Knees come together. Again, if this is too much for your knee, then just do a figure 4. And if that's too much, then both feet out in front is fine. But otherwise, we're staying here. Our sit bones are on the ground. We'll inhale, lift up tall. Exhale, chest goes forward to feel the stretch in our leg, to round our spine and go down. So big breathing happening here, filling yourself up and emptying yourself out. Always pull little lint balls off your pants when you're in a resting pose. I think it's part of it. Maybe not. Maybe it's just me. And then we'll slowly come back. Hands come towards the body. Leaning back, toes go side to side, getting that internal and external rotation of the hip happening. Tick-tocking toes side to side. And then we'll bend that right knee, coming into our box or shin box again, rolling side to side. And next time we're over to the left, we're going to stay there, reaching that right leg back without touching the ground. We're kicking it forward and back. And then kick the right foot out, kick the left foot out, bend the left knee, left leg, or right knee to the ground. Left leg comes forward and back. And then both legs will come towards the top of our mat, moving our fleshy bits out of the way. We'll inhale, lift up high, and then exhale, hinging at the hips, bending the knees as much as you need to get there to reach your feet. Nose to knees, forward fold, gentle little pulses here. Pulling, active stretching. And then we'll lift our chest back up, transfer our body 45 degrees to the mat as we lift one leg at a time, shins parallel to the floor, coming into a 1/2 boat pose. Our hands come to center and we twist side to side, rowing your boat. So you can take your paddle, row your boat side to side, gently, gently down the stream, side to side. And then we're going to take our hands, lift them overhead. We'll inhale, open. Exhale, bend. Inhale, open. Exhale, bend. Only going as far back as your body can hold you up. And in, lift and open. And in, lift and open. 3 more times. 2 more times. 1 more time. Pull into the chest. Knees into chest, rolling out the back here. If you are begging for winding down, your prayers have been answered. We're slowing it down, rolling out our spine, maybe rocking side to side as you roll, getting a nice massage through your whole back here. It doesn't look good, but it feels good. Releasing your head back down, knees come wide. Peace fingers, grab your big toes. If that's uncomfortable for your toes, grab the outside of your feet. Pressing your heels up towards the sky. Squishing a grape with your tailbone, gently rocking side to side. Happy baby. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Filling up your chest. Filling up your ribs. Filling out up your belly. Maybe sighing it out. Breathing here. And then we'll release our feet down nice and close to our body so we can reach them with our fingers, taking our figure 4, crossing our left ankle over our right knee, using the left hand to press that left knee down. Right hand comes to the thigh or stays on the ground. Big breath. Exhale, pressing hips up to the sky, tiny pulses. Left hand can come to the hip, maybe both hands on the hip. Lifting hips. We have 2 hips, 2 hands, one for each. Pressing, lifting, and lowering. 3, 2, 1. Lower it down, uncross the left legs, feet come wide, dipping one knee at a time in towards center, keeping those hips on the ground. You're doing it right. Keep breathing. And then we'll step the left foot in nice and close to the body, right ankle over left knee. Big breath, pressing the right knee away with the right hand and lifting up through those hips. Gentle, little, tiny pulses happen here. And then we'll lower those hips back to the ground. Straighten one leg at a time out, nice and long. Gentle ankle rotations happening here. So circling out through the feet, rotating the ankles, and then changing direction. And we'll leave the right leg long as we pull the left knee in towards the belly. Right hand to the outside of the left leg, left arm out long, big breath. And we exhale, pull it across the body as our gaze falls over to the left. Nice twist to close our practice. Big breaths here. Keep breathing, stay in your twist. I think I was a little premature to say that we were closing our practice just yet, but I promise we're almost there. And then we'll release that knee back to center. Left hand on the inside of the left thigh, right arm out to the right side. Open that left thigh to the left side. So big hip opener here, big breaths happening. And then we'll straighten that left leg out long, pull the right knee in towards the belly, left hand comes to the outside of the right knee, right hand out to the right side, big breath, fill you up, and then exhale, pull that right knee across the body to the left side, big twist here, breathe. Think wringing a towel in your organs. We're cutting off, we're like stopping circulation, not necessarily stopping circulation, but constricting the body so that when we untwist it gets rehydrated. Keep breathing. Maybe even taking your right hand here and massaging out through your glute. Give your bum a rub. When's the last time you rubbed your bum? Maybe even get a little pat. It feels great, so do it. Or don't if it doesn't. It's your journey. We'll inhale, come back to center, right hand on the inside of the left knee, over to the right side, left hand, left side, big opener through the inside of the left leg, filling yourself with breath. And then we'll release our right leg long, hands come underneath of the bum, palms down towards the ground, elbows pressed into the earth. We inhale, lift through our chest, gaze falls backwards, toes pointed into our fish, little pulses here through the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades together, lifting and lowering, big breaths. And then we'll release the elbows to the side, lowering one vertebrae at a time, knees come into the chest, feet go back up towards the sky, knees bent towards the elbow, hands on the inside, little pulses here. Little sit-ups, legs wide, knees bent, little sit-ups, reaching towards your toes, and we'll straighten the legs up for a full waterfall. Tap opposite hand, opposite toes, reaching left to right and right to left. And then we'll plant our hands down on the mat, head comes to reach the mat, legs fully extended, we'll lower them down in extremely slow motion. Exhaling to lower, and we inhale to pause, or pause to inhale. Exhale, lower. Pause to inhale. Exhale, lower. Pause to inhale. Exhale to lower. Pause to inhale. Exhale to lower. Pause to inhale. Exhale to lower. Point the toes. Pause to inhale. Exhale to lower fully. We'll take our hands overhead. Giant pencil stretch, reaching hands away from the knees. We'll bring both feet over to the right side of our mat and both hands over to the right side of our mat as well, coming into banana pose. Big breaths happening here. Stretching greatly through the left side of the body. Go ahead, sigh it out. And then nice and slowly bringing your pencil stretch back to center. We'll inhale and pike our feet up and our hands up at the same time, coming through boat, touching our big movement, touching our feet to our hands and back down. 3, 2, and 1. Straighten out your pencil and then step both legs over to the left, both arms over to the left, coming into banana pose on the other side. Big breaths here, sigh it out. Filling yourself up. Sighing it out. Do an audible sigh. I triple dog dare you. It feels so nice. Sighing also gives permission for the people around you to relax. Either that or it'll super tick them off, which might be a trigger for them to go home and relax. Otherwise, sigh. And then nice and slowly we'll bring ourselves back to center. Pull our knees into our chest, our nose into our knees. Give ourselves one last great big squeeze for this practice before stepping one leg at a time out long. Head comes to rest on the ground, arms come wide. Laying down into your final resting Shavasana. Breathing here. Taking 3 great on-purpose breaths before letting go of the need to control your breath. And let yourself sink, let yourself be. Let yourself be found. Nice and slowly bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. Feeling your breath happen beneath your hands in exactly the way your body needs. And slowly begin to reawaken, stretching and wiggling. And taking a moment to pause on your right or your left side, connecting with your heart. Tapping into gratitude and extending it for yourself and all your pieces, broken and beautiful. And then gently press yourself up to a comfortable seated position where we'll close our practice together today. We'll gently blink our eyes open or keep them closed, but we'll inhale, raise our arms wide to the side and up to the sky where we pause in exaltation for this universe, for our life, for our body, for our breath, for our planet. And we'll exhale, pull our hands down to heart center where we pause here and always remember to think beautiful thoughts. We'll fill ourselves with breath all together and we'll pull our hands down to the center of our voice at our throat and our lips where we always remember to speak beautiful words. And all together, one last time in this practice today, we'll fill ourselves with breath, bringing our hands down into our heart center where we always remember to do beautiful things. Thank you so much for rolling out your mat today and joining me in this practice. I remind you the universe has your back and you can wear her on your shoulders as beautiful wings. I see you. Namaste.